Welcome back to the NAO Weekly Review. I can't believe how much my voice has matured over the last couple of weeks here.
That was nice.
I am Marky Mark, joined by Mike Deasy.
Hello.
Say hello, Mike.
Hello, everyone.
As you can see, we have no Shaun of the Dead. He is gone of the dead this week. He's traveling, and we plan on having him back next week. So we're going to do our best not to suck, and I'm not making any promises.
No.
Yeah. All right, let's what's that, Mike?
No promises.
Okay, yeah, no promises. No promises. Good. You got that from both of us. All right, so let's go down the scores for last week. We've got Carsonist with a Charcoaler defeated the Skippy Dogs 137 to 113 for a 24-point margin. So our buddy Shaun got back in the win column. What do you think about that one, Mike?
And that was a fun one to watch, actually. I know Shaun was a little worried about it there for a few minutes, but
yeah,
pulled it out in the end.
Shaun he worries as a default, you know. He could be ahead by 30 points. Oh, man, I might not get this one, you know. He's texting me. All right. Team Goofy Jace defeated Keen to a Cookmore Trout. You guys got these names, man, I'm telling you. Score of 148.90 to 113.80. That was the biggest defeat of the week at 35 points. Team Goofy Jace is steamrolling everybody.
Yeah.
What do you think about that one, Mike?
Yeah, no surprise he won. The big surprise, I think, is that he won by that much.
Yeah. Well, Ian left a lot on his bench. I think he told us he left a lot on his bench.
He's good about that.
Yeah. Had to let us know he had the points. Yeah, but he would have had to have the perfect lineup to beat him. He maybe could have gotten that one, but yeah, he didn't set the best lineup for that one. The Underdogs defeated Frank's Beauties. Sorry, Mike. The Underdogs get their first win, 164 to 141. Margin of 22 points. Mike, tell us what you think about that one.
Well, that's a tough one because, like I said, I scored the third highest. So
yeah,
that was a tough one. And it was on the back of Mixon, who I traded with Zeke, but sent him toward that team. And then I also traded them Devontae Parker earlier in the week, who had his highest scoring total of the year.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys.
It's you never want to trade with the guys that you're getting ready to play because it always comes back to haunt you, you know. But yeah, good for the Underdogs. They got their first win, and a great point total there helps them in the standings. So good to see that. So defenses win championships. Beat the Baba O'Reillys 132 to 128, a 4-point narrow 4-point margin. That one hurt, man. That one hurt. I was going into Monday night. He had Tyreek. I had a 10.60 lead, and I'm thinking if the Patriots just keep him out of the end zone, maybe I got a chance if he has one of those, down Tyreek games. But that touchdown on that little end around just dashed my hopes, man. So
without that, he didn't have the points.
Yeah, well, he lost Chubb early on, and that one hurt him. So I feel bad for that, and I feel bad for all the Chubb owners moving forward because that's a big loss for any squad right now, especially with running back so thin. So our last score, the Silly's Spicy Biscuits. He defeated his namesake, Silly Dilly, a.k.a. the real Slim Brady. Josh got his first win, 125 to 101 for a margin of 24 points. So this one was any thoughts on this one? Real quick, Mike.
As a Dallas fan, it was fun to watch that one because Cooper and Lamb did pretty well.
Yeah. That kind of certainly propelled him to his first victory. This was a monumental one because Josh got his first win, and Dylan got his second Mr. Miyagi ass waxing of the week. Wax on, wax off. Poor Josh, or poor, no, not poor Josh. Josh did all right.
Yeah.
Poor Dylan. So Dylan couldn't be here to accept this award. He gave me a short acceptance speech for him. He wanted to thank Tom Brady for playing like a literal GOAT until he moved off of Tom Brady onto Joe Burrow. And then Brady goes off for 33 points on his bench. So thank you, Tom, for that one. He also wanted to thank Tyler Lockett, who scored 37.40 points in a 2-week span, which is really good, except he only scored 13% of those in week 4. And finally, he wanted to thank McJammer. Hey, yeah, that's me. He wanted to thank McJammer for the tip on putting Robbie Anderson in the flex. Robbie Anderson's been very steady in the flex, and so Dylan says he doesn't blame me for the loss. I did the best I could for him. So
that's nice of him.
Yeah. He's good that way. So why don't you run down the standings real quick, if you don't mind, Mike Deasy?
Yeah. No surprise at the top, anyway. We still got Goofy sitting at number 1, the only undefeated team left. We'll see how that goes.
Steamroller.
Yeah. Still the most points for, obviously, 662, but no surprise there. We did have some movement in the next few spots, though.
Unfortunately, for me.
Yeah, defenses win championships, and actually you swap places, if I remember right, 2 and 3 now. I'm still sitting at 4. Still sitting at 4 at 2 and 2, which that's our playoff spots, if I remember right, the top 4.
Yeah, okay.
Everyone looking in. And we got Steele at number 5. We got Sean, Charciness with a Charkler. I still like saying that name. at 6. All sitting at 2 and 2 right now, but they're still in there. 3 and 1 is in the playoffs, or actually 2 and 2 is in the playoffs, so they're sitting there. We did have some movement down at the bottom of the scoreboard as well, though. We got the underdogs with their big week, moving all the way up to number 7.
Woo-hoo.
So not too bad.
It's got to look pretty good right now.
I do have your 3rd round draft pick now, guys, so if you could slow down just a little bit. We got Skippy Dogs sitting at 8. We got Silly Dilly sitting at 9, and Josh still sitting at 10. But with the big win, who knows what's going to go on down there? Everybody's sitting at 1 and 3 now. So
yeah. The injuries are catching up with everybody now. So these things are.
Somebody said in chat, Goofy has basically been spared of all injuries, and there he sits at number 1.
Yeah. 0 moves and 0 injuries, I think.
Yeah.
So, does he have Fuller? I think he's got Fuller, who's been off and on with the injuries, but otherwise, man, he's pretty clean right now. So definitely, the football gods are smiling down on Goofy Jace.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, let's talk about some trades here, man. We just had one completed moments ago, just before we went on the air. Yeah, man, it was a doozy. Tell us about your trade with Defenses Win Championships.
Yeah, he actually came to me on that one as well. Like he said in the chat, he was just looking for some quarterback depth. I thought the swap of Kirk and Jimmy was pretty okay, and I came out of it with a 3rd. So I thought it was overall pretty good. I had Darnold, who's not doing great, but I'm hoping that Garoppolo, who's actually mostly questionable right now, kind of comes back a little healthier, because I don't need him until week, I think 10 or 11 is Mahomes' bye week. So
okay.
I'll get some time for him to sit there and get healthy. And I think Allen is actually, they were talking about that he was kind of questionable, but not really. He looked good in practice this week, so everything's probably fine. But like running back said, if he goes down, then he needed some depth and got it with Kirk.
I'm sure that was a little scare for him. So, Kirk has been down, but he's still he's a good quarterback, I think. And seems like they've tried to fix things up a little bit the last couple of weeks here, getting Jefferson more involved, and got Thielen there, and you needed somebody to offset Thielen so that they don't just focus on him. So Actually, I think Jefferson helps Thielen a little
Yeah.
bit more than Thielen helps Jefferson.
I actually saw this morning that Jefferson is the number one ranked wide receiver on Pro Football Focus.
Yeah, number one. Was it all receivers or just rookies? I think it was all receivers, wasn't it?
I thought it was all receivers. Yeah.
That's amazing, man.
Yeah.
That's just amazing. Wow. So good for Jefferson there, and I think there's better days ahead for Cousins, and on your side, you get a young quarterback, and with some upside there. There's some question marks with him as well, but we'll see. We'll see how he progresses this year. I've been anxious to see if he makes a leap this year. It's a shame he's been out, so I'm hoping he gets back in there and we can see what we got there with Garoppolo. So, yeah, it was a decent trade there. Third rounder from who you said that was the Underdogs third rounder.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now I see why you're hoping that they go in the tank, and that's a high pick for you. All right. Well, we got one more trade to talk about. Actually, there was another trade that we're not going to talk about right now because it was between Carsonist with the Charkler, Airgate 2020, and the Underdogs. We're actually going to have Ian on next week. We hope. Our people are talking to his people, trying to work out the details. He's we're trying to have Evan on. He's a little bit of a diva. He wants M&Ms in the room and that kind of thing, So we're trying to work out the details with his people to get him on here. But that's the plan for next week, is to have Evan on as a guest, and we'll let him and Sean talk about that big trade. I won't ruin it. You guys saw the trade, so I won't spoil it by talking about it now. Well, we did have one other trade between Silly Spicy Biscuits and his namesake Silly Dilly, aka the real Slim Brady. So we had Josh Hill getting Rashad Penny and Jacob Eason, and a first rounder that was originally from Steele, from Ian. On this side, I see we got you got Rashad Penny, who of course went out with the ACL, pretty serious one. He's been rehabbing, couldn't start out this season. So last year was looking really good before that happened. So it was a shame he went down. Kind of a flyer there, probably. It's hard to say what's going to happen with Penny. But we know Carson's in his last year, and could be, if Penny can get in there and get involved, say in the second half of the season, maybe he's got somebody down the stretch and into next year. Jacob Eason, shame you can't put him on his taxi squad because taxi squads are closed, and he's definitely going to have to wait. But maybe he's in there next year and quarterback of the future for the Colts, and so we'll have to see what happens there. I think the best thing he got out of it was that first rounder,
right?
Because he didn't have a first rounder. He had traded that away, so he's back in the first round now. So what do you think on his side?
Yeah, I like it for the first round. I think that sort of seals the deal. Like you said, without a first round pick last year and some of the injuries he's had, I think he'll have I think he'll need that one next year.
Yeah. He definitely did a good job getting back in there. And I've been playing in Dynasty with Josh for several years now, 3 years, I think it is. And man, that dude is a trading fool. So I wouldn't count on that being his only first rounder when the draft comes around next year. So we'll see what Josh does. On Dylan's side, he got Zach Ertz, Scotty Miller, Josh's 5th round pick, and he got his own 2nd round pick back. So that was pretty interesting. He was like, give me that thing back, man. Hey, I ain't making this trade unless you give me my 2nd round. So he got his own 2nd rounder back. So I look at this. Zach Ertz is a guy that I was talking about earlier in the season. I was kind of worried about him. He was going pretty high, so we were having some ADP talk, and I thought maybe he was going a little high. I think he was going in the 3rd round, kind of right behind that first tier of Kelsey and Kittle. He was in that 2nd tier. And I thought it was a little bit high because I just was worried about his durability. He's been really tough. Zach Ertz has played through a lot of injuries and he's been a tough guy, playing hurt and everything else. I just started seeing some signs maybe of him slowing down. So I was a little bit out on him. And looking at this year, I don't know if he's just not in football shape, but he doesn't seem to be getting open. Last week he had 4 catches for 9 yards.
There's some disagreements, it seems like, with him and Philly too. They're not really on the same page.
Yeah, not a great situation there. So it's still early. Maybe he's not quite in football shape yet, like a lot of these guys that we're seeing. So maybe he comes back. But I haven't been real high on him. He got Scotty Miller, and Scotty was actually questionable when he traded for him. And Scotty was on his bench and actually did pretty well last week because Godwin was out. So Scotty Miller is not a bad pick, not a bad guy to trade for, but I just wonder when Godwin gets back, is he still going to be involved, you know?
It looks like Godwin's out another week at least, so.
Yeah. So right now Scotty's good probably, but I'm wondering about moving forward. So he got a couple of picks out of it, that second round pick. Right now he's down there in 9th place. So if he stays down that way, that second round pick will be a high one. Yeah. I'm sure he's hoping that's not going to be a high one, but probably not a bad pick to get back. So any more thoughts on that trade from you?
Yeah, I think it kind of makes sense from both sides. Both making the right moves. I think Scotty Miller, you have Tom Brady. It's not a terrible stack for a little while. Everybody knows that position with Tom Brady always has some fantasy value. So I think, like we talked about before, the picks are really what this one came down to.
Yeah. I mean, it was a fair trade, I think. Kind of see what both guys were going for there. I think Dylan's looking at guys he can plug in, even though he didn't plug in Scotty. Maybe this week. I don't blame him. He was questionable, so you know, you got to be kind of worried about flexing that guy in. But if he's ready to play this week, maybe he's a good play in his flex there. So, it was a fair trade, not a groundbreaker by any means, but I think Josh coming out with that first rounder was a good thing for him. You know, so talking about Dylan. You know, he did get his second Miyagi award. Poor guy. Yeah, at least broke 100 points. So, you know, every other Miyagi has not broken 100 points. He had 101. So, you know, he at least broke 100 points there. You know, he had a decent showing for the Miyagi winner. But that reminded me that we have something that, speaking of the Miyagi, that Sean wanted to share with everybody.
Yeah, that's right.
You got that ready, or?
So yeah, he's not with us, but he's still here.
With us in spirit.
Oh, Steery. You almost had to get this Miyagi, didn't you? Don't worry your pretty little head. We'll keep the wax nice and hot for you. Until then, still you suck. I'm Sean, and I approve this message.
Oh man. So yeah, he wanted to rag on Steele a little bit. It's you know, got to keep the tradition going there.
Of course.
So yeah. If you didn't catch that, he was pulling for Steele for Ian to win the Miyagi this week, and he came darn close, but he got just enough points to stay out of it. He did get. Sean didn't want us to mention that he did have the highest point differential. He lost by 35. So he wanted us to make sure we pointed that out and gave Steele his due. So I guess from there we'll move on to some matchups. So coming up this week, I've got you, Mike, on the marquee matchup of the week here. So we got Frank's Beauties going up against Defenses Win Championships. And now you guys grew up together, went to high school together, right?
Well, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah.
We were pretty close. I think he's a few years older than me, but
he's a few years older than you. Okay. Yeah. But you've known each other for a long time, grew up in the same small town in upstate New York.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Good old Norwich, New York, our hometown, our birth town. So they right now, I'm sure you guys will make some moves, but it's a pretty close matchup where they've got you coming in rounded to 124, and Aaron coming in at 121. So you want to talk a little bit about your matchup this week?
Yeah, this one, it looked a little bit different a few weeks ago. He lost Chubb and I lost Eckler, who I haven't dropped out of my lineup yet. That's one I have to figure out still, because losing Eckler is going to be tough, but losing Chubb is going to be tough. He does have really good depth, though. I think he had the better depth to be able to replace an injury like that than I do. But it's going to be a close one, that's for sure. The big thing for me is going to be what happens with those damn Tennessee Titans.
Yeah.
If that game gets canceled and I lose Stephon Diggs as well, that's going to be tough for me.
Yeah. That's the thing. It affects the other team, and so maybe you don't have the Titan, but you got the guy on the other team. So yeah.
What's going to happen is he's going to have to bench Allen for Kirk Cousins, who's going to put up 40 points against me after I just traded him.
You just traded him. We just talked about that, Mike. God. Yeah. I DM'd Aaron a little bit last week and was telling him I was crying. I was singing the blues because I was flexing in guys like Anthony Miller and Preston Williams, who I didn't really want in there, but didn't have much choice. And Chase Edmonds, who actually worked out pretty well for me, but I'm like, dude, I'm down to flexing in the second string running back right now, And we talked about his depth at that time. He definitely does have some depth on his team and hasn't been hit too much by the injuries. So Chubb loss is a big one for sure. So we'll see how he comes back from that. So, and yeah, you with Eckler, I said a couple of weeks ago how good Eckler looked out there. I think it was the Carolina game maybe. And the guy just, man, he forces missed tackles. He gets a pass behind the line of scrimmage and looks like crap for a minute, and then the next thing you know, he's getting positive yardage, and not just anybody can do that. So that was a devastating injury for him. I hope he comes back from it soon. Kind of a double knee and hamstring kind of thing together,
Yeah, he was looking good with Justin Herbert too.
Yeah. I was scared that first week with Tyrod and the one target, but Herbert's been checking down to him, and I think they're calling plays for him too, trying to help Herbert out. And it's gonna, it'll be interesting to see what Herbert does this week now too, because that's a guy you don't want to be missing, So we'll have to see how that goes. So, all right, next on the schedule, I have the Underdogs who got their first win. I think they're still celebrating. Don't think they've come down yet, man. They're still out there celebrating. I heard, Tennessee, man, they're out there painting the town still. They got the Steamroller. I've nicknamed him the Steamroller because that's what he's been doing so far. They got Goofy Jace this week. It's a pretty close matchup right now. I looked at these about 4 o'clock this afternoon. So, like I say, there's going to be roster moves and stuff. But right now they had Goofy Jace at 131, the Underdogs at 125. So kind of seems low for Goofy Jace. I don't know why.
I think
maybe got some buys or something.
Now. Yeah, he's got Aaron Jones in still, and the Packers are going to buy.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. Now I remember that you're saying that no Aaron Jones, who's been killing it for Goofy Jace. So he'll have to pivot off of that.
Speaking of depth, though, he looks like he has enough to fill that one anyway.
Yeah, he's been flexing David Johnson. He'll probably maybe he pops him up there. I don't know who else he's got out there. I think he's got Latavius Murray too, doesn't he? Yeah. So Murray's been doing pretty well. He's worth a flex spot, even as the second guy there, as we saw last week. So he's got some moves to make. Be interesting. I know. How embarrassing would it be for Goofy Jace if his first loss comes to the Underdogs, like somebody else's first loss came to the Underdogs? Who was that again? I can't remember.
It was so long ago.
It was so long ago, man. Yeah. So that'll be an interesting matchup there. So All right, let's move on. So we got the Real Slim Brady going up against the Skippy Dogs, both at 1-3, I think, if my memory serves correct. So that one's got a 10-point margin right now. Skippy Dogs projected at 129, and the Real Slim Brady at 119. So I wonder if the Real Slim Brady will put the Real Tom Brady in there this week. What do you think?
Yeah, I think based off matchups, that's because Burrow has the Baltimore Ravens this week, and that would scare me enough to probably sit him.
Yeah, Burrow's been tearing it up, but I have him in a 2-quarterback league, and he won't be in my lineup. He was in my lineup last week. He won't be in my lineup this week. Yeah.
Because Brady has the Bears, who haven't been the normal Bears, or the Bears of old, so based off matchups, I'd expect that, I guess, but
yeah. Well, we'll see. Yeah, it's missing some of his weapons there. O.J. Howard went down this week.
That was a big injury.
Yeah, really. I mean, because we can see that Gronk's not doing much there right now. I don't know. I don't know if we can expect much out of him this season or not. It was kind of a good story to start the season that they got the band back together, but he's really not doing too much. So if you got him, I'd drop him. I think that's Goofy Jace has him, I think, but I don't think he's played him yet either. So, Skippy Dogs, he's got Lamar Jackson, and I just saw the day that I think he missed practice today for a knee injury. Did you see that?
Yeah, I wasn't too worried because it was Wednesday, I guess, so it's a normal sit day, but at the same time, they don't normally get that involved with what the Wednesday sit is for. So
Right. And I mean, the fact that it's out there now, it's something.
Yeah.
You just ignore it. So we'll have to see what he can do with that if Lamar Jackson's going to play for him or not. And of course, he's got Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
So is Derrick Henry going to play? What are we going to do with that? So you have to see what happens there for Skippy. So right now he's favored in that matchup, but there's a little bit of questions going on there. So all right, and next on the matchup we've got Silly Spicy Biscuits going against Carsonist with a Charcoaler. Whew, like I said, these names. I mean, I got my Bobo O'Reilly. So it's a weird name for a football team, but it rolls off the tongue. Got the Bobo O'Reillys. So we got a pretty big margin for the projection here. We got Sean Airgate 2020. We got him at 141, and Jay Hill at 101. So Jay Hill may need to make another trade. What do you think?
Yeah. I think I'm looking at. It looks like. Well, I know Goofy doesn't have Aaron Jones in, but right now Sean has the highest projection at 140. So he's got. Does he have him in? He hasn't. Oh, there he is. He put Michael Thomas back in, and it sounds like he's coming back this week. So he's been excited about that. I know.
So he's got the chicken foot. The guy with the chicken foot on the bat. In Major League, he's got the chicken foot this week. Trying to get some good juju going for Michael Thomas. So, yeah, I know he's been missing him. That was his first-round draft pick, so it's been disappointing to be without him. That's a tough one, man. Thomas with that high ankle sprain. We saw what that did for like Kamara and Barkley last year, and how much of a difference that made. Of course, they're running backs. Kirk's another guy last year that was doing pretty well. Kirk's been terrible this season, by the way, on my roster. Thank you very much. Who I traded for to the underdogs. But Kirk had a pretty decent season last year. But the time that he had that high ankle sprain, trying to play through it, he just wasn't the same, So that's tough for Sean to be missing out on Michael Thomas. I'll have to see what he does here coming back. I don't know. I mean, they're doing all right. I don't know that I'd rush him back. I'd try to save him for the stretch run. You know what I mean? But we'll see how he does. We'll see how he looks. But I wouldn't bet the farm on Michael Thomas until I see that he's 100%. So, yeah, Josh has got to make a got to make a few roster moves there. I don't know if does he have anybody on bye this week. He seems pretty low there.
Actually, I'm not seeing any buys.
No buys
right now. Yeah.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Yeah. So he's got to make a few moves, maybe get a chicken foot of his own in there. So see if he can conjure up a little bit of points there. Right now, it's not looking too good for him. So, all right, last matchup we have the Baba O'Reillys. See, it just rolls.
It does sound nice.
The Baba O'Reillys. Baba O'Reillys. So they're going up against Keen, Tua, Cook, more Trout. I said it. I said the whole name. I am projected to lose. The Baba O'Reillys, my team, 118. Steele's team, 137. And, yeah, I don't know how much more I can do beyond what I'm projected right now. So, no McCaffrey. And I got buys this week with Galladay and Hawkinson. So 2 guys that I actually have healthy have buys this week, you know. I've got Kittle back, so that's good for the tight end spot. So not missing Hawkinson so much, but you know, I was to the point of flexing in tight ends.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
I had Hawkinson in the tight end spot last week and flexed in Kittle. So I gotta start Kittle in the tight end spot. And I don't like my choices for flex right now. So yeah, losing Paris Campbell this year. I'm counting on him making that jump. And then, of course, McCaffrey out still, who should be back pretty soon. But I lost him in 3 leagues, and it's been pretty dismal for me ever since. So I lost all 4 matchups last week. Thank you very much. So, yeah. 0 for 4. I went 4 for 0 in week 2 when McCaffrey got hurt. 4-0 in that week and 0 for 4 last week. So I'm trending down right now. And Steele's got still got a good roster. He pointed out to us he's got all the handcuffs.
Yeah.
And he's willing to trade them for a king's ransom.
Mm-hmm. And Kareem Hunt, I think, is going to be the big one.
Yeah. Who else has he got there? He's got Mike Davis.
He's got him in still. Yeah.
So he's still good for another week or 2 at least.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's definitely. He mentioned somebody else there, but so he's got plenty of flexibility.
Yeah.
To turn it to go in and he had a down week last week. I'm kind of like, why didn't you save your down week for me? Yeah,
do it this time.
He's probably gonna do his homework and make sure he gets me this week. So I don't know. What do you think? You think I got any chances there? It's not looking good, man.
That's a tough one. I think he's looking strong, and I think last week was a little bit of a fluke. Only
I think so
he was
too.
113. So
yeah, because he had the points on his bench. I think the weekly report said he could have had 167 or something like that, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, he's definitely going to do his homework this week and make sure he tries to put me up for my first Miyagi. hoping not to have to present that to myself on any given week, you know? So, but yeah, if I was betting money, I'd have to bet on Steele this week. So,
yeah, that's a tough one though.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tough one for sure. I'll do my best. Last week I wasn't looking too good, and defenses win championships underachieved, and I overachieved by a few points. I think I got like 6 points over what I was expected to get. And I'll tell you what was killing me, man. So in 2 dynasty leagues, I've got Anthony Miller in this league starting. And in the other league, I've got A-Rob against me. And I was in a tight one in my other league. And we're at the end of the game, and I'm like, get me a garbage time touchdown for Anthony Miller. Come on, Nick, the stick or whatever they call him, Get me one to Anthony Miller, get me a touchdown. what happens? A-Rob gets the touchdown, and a close matchup in my other dynasty became a blowout. And so I needed Anthony to get me in this one. Yeah, one touchdown, I would have got it. One touchdown from Anthony Miller, I would have got it. So that's how my luck was running. So I don't know if we pointed it out in the standings that I've got the least points scored against, right?
Yeah.
So I've been lucky. 3-1. Been lucky. I've been steady on scoring. I did the math today, and I'm averaging 127 points a game. So I've been steady, but I've been lucky too. And I got 2 leagues where I am dead last in points against. So hope that makes you guys feel better. And I know Steele's looking at me like, yeah, I'm coming to get you, boy. I'm coming to get you. So I might go I went from second to third this week. Who knows where I'm going to end up next week if it turns out the way it looks on paper right now. So
there's a lot of games actually that'll have big impacts on that. You and Steele, and then me and Aaron. So actually 2, 3, 4, and 5 all go against each other this week.
There you go. Yeah. That's going to be interesting to see how that all shakes out. I wish I had all my guys, but I'm going to give it my best, man. I'm going to do my homework and try to figure out another Chase Edmonds. I put him in my lineup, man, and getting double-digit points. That's pulling one out of the old rectum. So rectum. All right. Well, I think we've covered just about everything we were going to cover.
Yeah.
Like I said, we'll get Sean back next week. Planning on having Evan in next week. Looking forward to that.
It'll be a fun week. Yeah.
Yeah, I've talked to Evan quite a bit on DM, and seems like a real good guy. So anxious to put a face to the to the name and
really dive into that Myles Gaskin trade. We'll spend the whole time on it.
Yeah. I can't wait, man. I can't wait. I really wanted to talk about that trade this week. I really did. Spoiler alert, I'm going to give Sean a little bit of crap about that trade. But we'll wait till next week and wait till we get Evan live and let those guys talk about what was going through their minds during that groundbreaking trade. You got anything else, Mike, that you wanted to?
Yeah, I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so, yeah. I got some homework to do on my flex spots this week, so I'll dive in.
Shoot, you and me both, brother. So one other note, we were trying to do this show on Tuesdays so that we could drop between non-neutral zone drops. So they're pretty much down for Tuesdays and Thursdays. So we're trying to hit Wednesdays. Mike and I both have just had a hellish schedule at work, and we weren't ready. Our motto, our mantra is zero preparation all of the time. We're not trying to do anything real professionally. We're just trying to chat about the league. But we were so beyond ready yesterday. It just both of us working late and couldn't quite pull it together. And we wanted to wait so that Sean can put his little message out there to Steele. So I guess I will close with that. On behalf of Sean. Steele, you suck.